Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Secondly, can you talk about spiritual enlightenment and liberation and what those types of concepts have done and do for humans in the old and the new?
Okay, when it comes to enlightenment, I've talked extensively about this before. Enlightenment, again, is a word. You know, it means nothing in itself. Now, how I explain enlightenment is that most types of enlightenment is what I refer to as relative enlightenment. All different traditions have their ideas of what it means. And relative enlightenment is simply when you reach a level of consciousness or a state of mind that matches your own belief systems. And when that happens, you will have this enormous release. And you think that you've gotten it all because you have basically reached the pinnacle of that belief system. It doesn't mean that that's the ultimate bubble, that's the ultimate truth, but it might be the ultimate according to the tradition that you're a part of. Now, we have to look at enlightenment, the way I talk about it, as something completely different. No individual can ever reach enlightenment because it's got nothing to do with the individual. I always say that it's the enlightenment that becomes the individual. There is absolutely nothing the individual can do to reach it. Being an individual is like being in a seed state. You're a seed. It means that you're asleep, you're dormant. And as long as you believe in the individual, as long as that is your identity, your whole spiritual journey through billions of lifetimes, you're still a seed. You're still asleep. And you exist within the shell of the individual. I always say that the outer world is the inside walls of your own mind. And as an individual, it's impossible to get past it. For a seed to grow or start sprouting, a seed cannot decide that for itself. It takes soil, water, sunlight, none of which are part of the seed. So whatever happens in the seed of belief systems, thoughts, journeys, whatever, it's still a seed, it's just there. But at some point, it will get planted. And the forces of nature will open it up. You will have the soil, you'll have the water, you'll have the sunlight. And the moment it starts sprouting, it's not a seed anymore. And that's when it all begins. And that's where it ends for the individual, which is why in all traditions, the ultimate enlightenment has been seen as the end point, because it is for the individual. But it's a starting point of life. It's only then you move beyond the primitive state of the individual. And even what people believe to be soul is the individual state. Soul is not an individual. I explained as a signature vibration that is part of all life, all universes, all creation. And as long as that is locked inside the seed, it's not available to life. As a seed, you're still just a potential. That's all a seed is. It's a potential. And all of your journeys in these worlds, all these dimension life forms, lifetimes, are still just about exploring your potentials and getting you ready to get planted. And it's only when that happens and you're cracked open that enlightenment happens. And the individual, the you, is no more. There's only nature. And what you are as potential becomes real. It might be discouraging for a person to hear that we go through all of that, and still it's just about touching potentials, but it is. It's only when you reach that true enlightenment that life actually starts. That's when what you are becomes part of life itself. And life itself becomes you. And they cannot be separated. All lower forms of enlightenment are simply steps on the way. This is why we go through different cultures, belief systems, to explore ourselves, to learn, to grow. But we're still dormant. The whole concept of the individual, the whole concept of you, is limited. You can only exist as long as you believe in the separation between you and life. Separation is the premise of you. In absolute oneness, there cannot be you. There can only be the essence and the signature in all there is. Now, the new and the old paradigm the new paradigm is simply slightly higher than the old one. And you can also see this by the different levels of the laws of nature. There's just a slight difference. So from the enlightened point of view, there's no difference. There are still just steps on the way. It's not like enlightened beings are incarnating, because normally they don't. So it's simply a matter of more mature seeds who understand more about their own potentials and have explored more, incarnating and being part of the human experience and the human family. But it's got absolutely nothing to do with enlightenment. At the same time, as I always say, enlightenment is inevitable because it's evolution. Every single one of you will get there. But the moment it happens, you don't exist. And there's absolutely nothing you can do to get there. This is also why a lot of the work being done in spiritual traditions are simply about relative enlightenment. It's not true enlightenment. It changes nothing. It's only life itself that absorbs the seed. So in that respect, it doesn't really matter what you do spiritually, because evolution never stops. You could not block enlightenment from happening, no matter how hard you tried, because nature evolves you. And you cannot unfold by yourself. You can only get into a position where you allow for life to unfold you. Because there is no difference. So when you connect to nature within, you connect with nature also inside of you because it's the same. This is why I say your true core, your true center is not you. It's nature. It's only when you're not in your center that the you think you are is relevant. Because the ego is simply a compensation strategy for not being centered. It's the emulation of centeredness. When you are truly centered within yourself, you connect with life. And you become what is beyond yourself. So the more centered you are, the more you will be in a position for life to unfold you. And at some point, the walls of the mind will dissolve. And the individual will not exist. For nature, it's simply how life grows. Whenever a seed sprouts and becomes what it is, it goes from being a potential to being real. It's only then it's a real plant, it's a real living, breathing being. The seed is just dormant. So it's the end of everything as you know it, and the start of all there is.